the last stream, we finally managed to get our very first apiary. Over here, we have the Tier 1 apiary, currently housing all of our wither skeleton bees, which, between streams, have been pollinating on that wither-proof block, headed back into the Tier 1 apiary and producing wither skeleton honeycombs. And as you can see, over the course of, I think the last 48 hours, they have managed to produce more than 9 stacks of wither skeleton honeycomb, which we could now process into over 9 stacks of wither skeleton skulls, which is an insane number of wither skeleton skulls for us to process. Right now, things are a little bit jammed up here. The reason for that is that our blaze rod drawer has filled up completely. We're at 2,048 blaze rods. So real quick, I think one of the first things that we should do here, as we've done a few times before, is grab some kind of upgrade kit. Gold seems like the best option right now. We don't really have any diamonds or emeralds available to us. Hopefully, we can rectify that fairly shortly by putting diamond and emerald bees into another Tier 1 apiary. And that brings me nicely onto the first thing that I would like to do in today's stream. And that is I would like to fight 9 withers, getting us 9 nether stars, thus allowing us to make a block of nether stars that we can then use with a wither bee, which we should be able to breed fairly easily with a soul sand bee and a wither skeleton bee, thus getting us infinite nether stars through the wither bee going forward. I think we'll do that in a second. One of the other things that I do want to work on in today's stream is I would like to finally start on a little bit of Astral Sorcery. And if we're going to get into Astral Sorcery, one of the resources that we're going to need quite a large amount of that we currently don't have any of is marble. We need marble not only to make things like the Starlight Crafting Altar and the Light Well, but we also need it to build the multi-block around the Starlight Crafting Altar, which I don't think we can see just yet in the Astral Tome. But as we progress on through the Astral Tome here, we'll unlock new chapters. Right now we just have Discovery, but as we unlock more chapters, we'll start to see that things like the Starlight Crafting Altar requires a multi-block structure around it, and a large amount of that multi-block structure is marble. And so I think before we get started fighting 9 withers, we should temporarily grab one of our spawn marble bee eggs. It might also not be a bad idea to make a few more spawn marble bee eggs, which we can make with honeycomb, honey blocks, and marble. There is a recipe for marble with diorite pebbles and stone pebbles. However, right now we do not have any in the system. We do have a few out here, but I think we are going to need more marble than we can make, like manually. So what I think we'll do is we'll make a couple of these marble bee spawn eggs. We will, for now, throw the marble bees into the new apiary with the wither skeleton bees. That should hopefully very quickly get us a decent amount of marble, thus allowing us to kind of jump in headfirst into Astral Sorcery. Now, one thing that I did point out in the last stream is that we can't use player filters in the multi-block that is the apiary. I've been told by the YouTube comments that this has been fixed in newer versions of the pack. So in the newer version of the pack, you can use mob filters in the apiary multi-block. Right now, we're still running an older version of the Modpack, and so we can't use those blocks. But what someone has recommended is using doors alongside those player filters, because doors, as luck would have it, are valid apiary blocks. You can see at the bottom there, resourceful bees, :valid_apiary. And so what we should be able to do, I think, here, is if we were to go ahead and break some blocks here and do this, the bees will try and escape as soon as they see an opening. But if we do that, what we can probably do temporarily until we update the mod pack is grab some of these mob filters here, which will have been sucked up, of course, by the item collector. And for now, at least, put them down here and here. This way, we can kind of walk through, enter like this, and access our bees without the possibility of our bees escaping. They will temporarily annoy us like that, where they kind of fly into the door section. But I think even if we leave that door open like that, this does still work and does still count. Of course, it looks horrendous, but it gets the job done. So let's throw down a couple of flowers. These are for the marble bees, which we can also drop down, like so. I'm fairly certain that placing them in the apiary works just fine, works in the exact same way as placing them in through the import function inside the apiary. Also, people on YouTube did ask what these buttons were about on the right-hand side. The top one is just this page right here. The second one takes you to the apiary storage, so it's the same as just opening up this block down here. And then the third button is for the apiary breeder, which is a block that we don't currently have as part of our apiary multi-block. It's this guy right here. I believe if you put that into the multi-block, you can then give the apiary breeder some of the resources required to breed certain bees, and then the apiary will kind of automatically breed those bees when it can. I don't think we need to worry about that too much just yet. One thing that we should probably worry about, though, is getting the honeycombs from our apiary over and into the centrifuge system over here. Thankfully, that really shouldn't be too difficult for us to do. If we grab one of our item routers and another one of our Mark II sender modules, what we should be able to do is shift right click onto this router right here. This is the one that filters between honeycombs going to the storage drawers and all the other combs going down into the centrifuge casing there. And then if we put the item router, for now, I guess we could put it like right here. I'm probably going to move like all of this stuff once we start getting more apiaries, because at that point, we can start tearing down or reusing this area right here. But for now, if we put the sender module in here and we grab one of the cyclic item pipes, what we should be able to do is extract directly from the apiary storage, like so. That should send the honeycombs over to that router. The reason it's not doing it just yet is range. Right now, I think this is not close enough for that to work, but we should be able to make a few more range upgrades fairly easily. Along with the range upgrade, one of the other upgrades that I have been wanting to make for a little while now is the speed upgrades. That being these guys right here. The speed upgrades are going to allow us to send items faster, and now that we have a decent number of blaze rods, we can actually make quite a few of these. And I'm kind of thinking that even though it's going to be less efficient, what I think could be interesting is having speed upgrades in here without stack upgrades, because right now all of our items are sent in stacks. So if we have like 32 coal, that 32 coal travels across the world as one piece of coal. And while that is very efficient, I think if we wanted it to look a little bit cooler, we could instead swap out the stack upgrades for speed upgrades, and at that point, all of the items would fly across the world individually. That might start to cause a little bit more lag than is reasonable, but I'm willing to give it a try here. So let's make some more blank upgrades. And let's make a couple of speed upgrades as well. I'm not quite sure what the maximum number of speed upgrades you can make is. It looks like 9 is the max. It also looks like we are having yet another full draw situation. Yeah, we've also filled up on sand. One of the things that we probably should start to look into very shortly to prevent this kind of issue from happening is investing in some void upgrades. Right now we are having a little bit of trouble with our obsidian generator downstairs. There seems to be a bit of a weirdness going on with this barrel not working sometimes. But as soon as we get that, oh my goodness, it's going a bit too fast, chat. Look how fast they're flying out there. Okay, let's tune that down a bit. Okay, I mean, it's not quite what I had in mind. Like, they do go quite fast, but you can hardly even see them. They're going so fast. It almost makes no sense to have them like that. But it works, and I'm happy to leave that as it is for now. Also, let's go and put those range upgrades, shall we, into this guy. And hopefully that's going to be... Oh, no, that's not what I want to do. Try that again. Hopefully that's going to be enough to start sending those over. It is, perfect. So now we have the marble bees set up. Let's kill some withers, shall we, chat? So this is wither number 4, or wither star number 4 at least. But as you can see from the death point here, we have died a few times now to the wither effect. Thankfully, when you die to the wither, you can get a wither rose. The default way that you get a wither rose is by having the wither kill a mob of some description, so like a cow, a zombie, a creeper, a pig, anything like that. If a wither kills a mob, it should drop a wither rose. Apparently, it also works if the wither kills you, so we did get a wither rose here, and chat is telling me that we can use the botany pot here to duplicate the wither rose that we have. So if we quickly smelt up 5 blocks of clay into 5 terracotta, we should be able to essentially duplicate our wither rose, much like we're doing with the sugarcane and saplings over here, And then from there, we can make something called the Wither Charm, which is going to prevent us from getting the Wither effect going forward. Now, I don't think this is going to be something that we have permanently running like we do with our saplings or sugarcane. So I think for now, we can just grab a chest and do something like this with a piece of soul sand and the Wither Rose. It's not a 100% chance, guaranteed. I think it's a 60% chance to get a Wither Rose every time. So it might take a couple of cycles here to actually get the number of Wither Roses needed to make the Wither Charm. But that's fine. While we wait for this, we can go and make some more crystallized amber. Boom and boom. We now have a Wither Charm. Unfortunately, we are out of charm slots with our Sleep Charm and our Gluttony Charm, so we can't fit another one over here, but just having it in our inventory should give us that Wither-proof effect. And so now, if we grab some Wither Skeleton Skulls and we head on down again, we should be able to kill the Wither now much more easily, because we don't have to worry about getting the Wither effect, which really is what's been killing us. So 9 Withers later, and we now have 9 Nether Stars ready to go. So if we head on over to our crafting grid, we can now craft those 9 Nether Stars into a block of Nether Stars. From there, we can take some soul sand, as well as a few bee jars here. And what we should be able to do is we should be able to grab one of our soul sand bees, take that bee over to the apiary, drop this guy down. Do the Wither Skeleton bees require Wither Skeleton heads to breed? They totally do. So if we give... oh, did that guy go directly... Wait. That guy went directly into the hive, which is very weird, because I don't think we have the pollinating block for him, so I'm not quite sure what he's doing there. But as soon as he comes back out in 10 seconds here, we can breed one of the Wither Skeleton bees with the Soul Sand bee, thus guaranteeing us a Nether Star bee. And then, so long as we have a Nether Star block in the apiary here, that Nether Star bee should start generating Nether Star combs, which we can then, of course, start processing. The Wither combs only have a 10% chance of getting you a Nether Star, but as you've seen with the Wither Skeleton bees, we get a bunch of combs, and of course with the new apiary, we get 8 Wither combs every single time the Wither bee pollinates, and so, although 1 in 8 is not quite 10%, it's almost 1 Nether Star per pollination, which over time should essentially equate to infinite Nether Stars for us. So, you and you. And there it is, chat. There is our very first Wither bee. I'm going to put him down on the Nether Star block just to hopefully get him to pollinate. There we go, beautiful. We can take the Soul Sand bee back. He is no longer needed in here. Going forward, we can, of course, grab the other Soul Sand bee we have, or in 5 minutes' time, we could grab the same Soul Sand bee, take him back through and do the same thing again. Once we have 2 Wither bees, we can, of course, get really as many as we like. But now, going forward, we should hopefully have an infinite supply of Nether Stars, albeit a somewhat slow one, at least in the beginning. So to get started here with Astral Sorcery, the first quest is the start quest, and thankfully, the very first quest here gives us a crystal, a collector crystal, and a linking tool, both of which are going to come in very useful. The first 2 quests here are for the Resonating Wand and a Star Metal Ore. So the Resonating Wand, I'm pretty sure, is a nice easy craft for us here. We need 2 marble, 2 aquamarine, and 1 ender pearl. Right now, we are missing the 2 aquamarine. However, I do believe we have some over here. We do. We've got 62 aquamarine ready to go. I believe we've been getting this from sifting sand. Yeah, we sifted a bit of sand while we were trying to get iron. And thankfully, as a byproduct, we did get some aquamarine there. And obviously, if we want to get more aquamarine, we could either sift more sand, or I'm assuming there's probably an aquamarine bee that we could invest in. Yeah, there totally is. Perfect. Either way, for now, we can get ourselves a Resonating Wand, the use of which, along with the use of the linking tool, will become apparent in just a moment here. And then as for the Star Metal Ore, I'm fairly certain that if we wanted to use that, we would have to first get a regular piece of iron ore, which we can do if we have 4 iron ore pieces, which again, we might have over in here. We totally do. So if we take 4 regular iron ore pieces, if I'm not mistaken, what we can do here is we can place down our collector crystal, and we might have to wait for nightfall for this to work, but let's say we place the collector crystal down right about here. What we should be able to do is place down the iron ore, and then using the linking tool, if we right-click on our collector crystal, and then right-click on the iron ore, that should begin channeling the starlight that is being collected by the collector crystal down to the iron ore, and as you can see, look at that, we have our first bit of star metal ore. Nice. Next up is the luminous crafting table. This guy made in very much the same way here. If we take a regular Minecraft crafting table and we place that down somewhere near to the collector crystal, that iron ore didn't have to be directly beneath it, although we have now linked this collector crystal to this block. So I believe if we put the crafting table here, it should be already linked. And look at that, we've made a luminous crafting table. Again, you can do that anywhere. We could have put the crafting table here and then connected them up. I'm not quite sure on the range of the collector crystal. I think it might be about 7 blocks, but as long as it's fairly close by, you can link anything you want to it. So now we have the luminous crafting table. We can begin crafting with starlight. So, for example, we are going to have to pick this up actually to get the quest complete here. But for example, if we look at the recipe for the light well here, I believe once we put the light well into the luminous crafting table, we will see kind of a bar appear at the bottom here that will tell us how much starlight is required in order to make this item. So to make it, we need 2 ruined marble, 2 chiseled marble, 3 ruined marble, 2 chiseled marble, 2 aquamarine, and then 1 rock crystal. The rock crystals usually are found from rock crystal ore, and I think in this pack it's actually the same, but now we can craft rock crystal ore using stone, marble, and aquamarine. And of course, going forward, we probably want to look into getting a rock crystal B so we can actually begin making a rock crystal automatically. The rock crystal B being a breed between the cobblestone B and the aquamarine B, and the aquamarine B being a sand B with a marble B. I will probably look at that in just a second here. But for now, though, for our first rock crystal, we can just craft one down, and then I believe we have to break it. That scared the ever-living daylights out of me. I thought that happened because I broke the ore. I think I just happened to simultaneously break the ore at the time that Kandorel, about halfway down the list there, defeated the End Dragon. Gosh dang it. But either way, we now have 3 rock crystals here that we can use. And so we should, I think, be able to make this. As for the different kinds of marble, I'm pretty sure that all of these are craftable from base marble. So the ruined marble is 2 regular marble and a chiseled marble. The chiseled marble is just 4 regular marble. Thankfully, right now, we do have 256 marble ready to go. And so we should be able to fairly easily here make a good deal of both chiseled and ruined marble, just in case we need it. Might as well take the aquamarine as well. And at that point, I think we have basically everything we need here for the light well. So you'll see we need this much starlight, and as it becomes darker and darker, the night is setting here. Let me say, please don't sleep to the people on the server here. But as it gets darker and darker, you'll see the amount of starlight that the table has access to is shown by this kind of lighter bar coming here. So as soon as the lighter bar crosses over the dark blue bar, we have enough starlight and we can complete the recipe. And at that point, all we have to do is right-click on the luminous crafting table with our resonating wand, and that should create for us the light well. Now, we probably also want to look at making the looking glass and quite possibly the next starlight crafting altar as well. Unfortunately, we can't do this until we get some liquid starlight, which is what we're going to do with the light well here. However, for the looking glass, we need 4 sticks, 1 gold, 1 plank, and 1 glass lens, which is 4 aquamarine and a glass pane. Okay, let's grab a glass pane real quick. We already have the 4 aquamarine. Chat is also making a good point that you can get more starlight if you put your luminous crafting table higher up in the world. Right now we're at Y level 72 and we have just about enough starlight here to make this work. So if we right click, the craft should begin. And thankfully, Astral Sorcery does have some really nice sound effects and animations there. But let me check real quick. Do we have an angel block in the pack? We don't, unfortunately. The angel block was a mod, was an item from extra utilities that allowed you to kind of place blocks in the air. Just to show you how this works here, I think if we were to do something like this, obviously this looks horrendous and is not the way we're going to be doing this going forward. But if we were to put down our luminous crafting table here, you'll see we have significantly more starlight than we did down at Y level 72. So if you need more starlight, early on at least, you can do it by just moving your luminous crafting table much, much higher in the air. For us, for now, we should be able to take 4 aquamarine crystals with 1 glass pane. That's going to get us the lens. Again, just a right click. Beautiful. And then from there, if we grab a gold ingot and some sticks, we should have basically everything required to make the looking glass. Boom and boom. And there we go, we get the looking glass. And I think even more importantly than the looking glass itself, the quest book here also gives you access to all of these constellation papers, which normally you do have to work a little bit harder to get. I'm going to drop a few of these here, but that is fine. Look at the light show there, man. Holy heck. But what we can do now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is we can right-click or shift-right-click on our Astral Tome to open up a little page that allows us to store all of these constellation papers. So if you open it, if you right-click the book regularly, you get the default kind of chapters page, but if you shift right-click, you get this little constellation paper pouch where you can store all of the constellation papers for all of the different constellations, which will come in useful a little bit later on down the line. I think normally you have to discover those all individually, but at that point, you'll notice that we have unlocked a new chapter. The first one was Discovery. You can read through this to find out all the information about the different items that I've just shown you here, but we also have a new chapter, Exploration, and in here we have the Starlight Crafting Altar. So as I mentioned before, if we're going to make the Starlight Crafting Altar, we need some starlight. Specifically, we need 1 bucket worth of liquid starlight to make this work. Everything else we should already have. Marble pillars we can make fairly easily, and to get the starlight, that is where the light well comes in. So if you place down the light well, and you place something like aquamarine into the light well, that will begin slowly but surely producing starlight. You'll see the millibuckets there are going up. If I'm not mistaken, I think you can also put in rock crystals, and the rock crystals might even produce more starlight than the aquamarine, because the aquamarine here does produce the liquid starlight fairly slowly. This won't last forever. Eventually the aquamarine here will break. I'm actually not too sure if we're going to get a full bucket's worth of aquamarine out of this. Now, there is a lot we can do with Astral Sorcery, and we're definitely going to come back to a lot of Astral Sorcery, but one of the main things that we do want to use it for is getting, of course, to the Blood Altar here. For this, we do need the Starlight Crafting Altar. We also need 4 blocks of redstone, 3 blocks of sooty marble, 4 blocks of steel, 1 bucket, and 1 demon will. So the sooty marble is nice and easy. You make it just with regular marble and coal, both of which we should now have in fairly large amounts, at least large enough for us to be able to make a good amount of sooty marble here. And the demon will, I believe, is actually something we get from this guy, the soul snare. So if I'm not mistaken, it does tell us in the tooltip here, we can throw the soul snare at a monster, and then if we kill that monster, we will obtain their demonic will. And at that point, we can then use that demonic will to create the blood altar, thus allowing us to move on into mods like Mekanism, and also, of course, allowing us to get into all of the nifty stuff added by Blood Magic as well. So that is done as far as we're concerned. We now have 1 bucket worth of starlight in the light well here. I'm actually quite surprised that we got so much starlight out of the 1 piece of aquamarine, but I'm not going to complain about it. We can grab that. And now that we have that, upgrading to the next altar, the Starlight Crafting Altar, really shouldn't be too difficult. Let's quickly grab some marble pillars. We already have the rock crystal, We already have the chiseled marble. We do now have the liquid starlight bucket. And so if we are fast here before the night ends, we should be able, I think, to upgrade this crafting altar here to a starlight crafting altar. And if I'm not mistaken, it does actually upgrade this altar to the next tier. Look at that. And we also got a little guy over here as well, a flare. I don't think the flares do anything. They just kind of hang around and look pretty cool. But now, in order to use this starlight crafting altar, we actually have to build a new multi-block structure around the altar in order for it to work. And if we take a quick look inside of the Astral Tome here at the starlight crafting altar page, we can see this is the multi-block we have to make. It's quite a big 9x4x9, so 9 blocks wide, 9 blocks deep, and 4 blocks tall. And I believe if we hover over here, we could see that in total, we need 8 chiseled marble, 24 marble arch, 24 marble bricks, 21 sooty marble, and 8 marble pillars. All of which we should be able to do, I think, fairly easily. I assume a lot of it is just crafting with the pre-existing marble that we already have. So we needed 24 marble bricks, we needed 24 marble arch. We also needed 21 sooty marble and 8 marble pillars. So 8 marble pillars. We've got the 21 sooty marble, although we know we need 3 to progress on with the blood altar, so we should get at least 1 more batch of sooty marble there. And then after that, it was just chiseled marble. So I think we have basically everything here. Let's see if we can't build the altar. Again, this is not going to be a permanent location, but just to kind of show off how it works, I will initially build it up here. I think going forward, I'll try and make a new dedicated area for the altar that's not just quite so haphazardly placed. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there we go. We now have the multi-block structure required for the starlight crafting altar. And so now, if we wanted to, when night falls, we should be able to craft up the blood altar. We do need to pick this up, again, to complete the quest. There we go. But now we've done that, getting the blood altar here really shouldn't be too difficult. In fact, I think the hardest part about getting the blood altar here might be getting the demonic will, just due to how long it's taken us normally to get mobs to spawn. However, thinking about it, what we could probably do is we could probably head on through to the Nether and then use the soul snare there to try and get our first demonic will. Oh my, hello. For example, this man right here is attacking me straight away. So I think if we throw this at him, once you see the particle effects around them, at that point, if you then kill the mob with those particle effects, I'm fairly certain that that mob will drop the demonic will. Look at that. Now, unless it's been changed, I don't know if you're guaranteed to get, like, for the particle effects to appear first try. Although, that's 2 for 2 there. And also the mob has gone through to the overworld. I do not know where that mob went. He went through the portal, but now he's just gone. He may have fallen, potentially. But either way, we do have the 1 demon will that we need. And going forward, we can, of course, get more, should we need them, by getting more, by using more of these soul snares on more mobs in the Nether. But for now, if we grab some blocks of redstone, I think we needed 4 in total, alongside blood altar, alongside 4 blocks of steel, 3 sooty marble, and 1 bucket, we should be good to go. So a block of steel, 1, 2, 3, 4, sooty marble we have, bucket we have. I think we're good to go, chat. I think all we need now is enough starlight to make this work, which might be quite a bit of starlight, and it might have to wait a little while because it is currently the middle of the day. But as soon as night falls, I think that we should be pretty much good to go here. While we wait for night to fall, this light well is still producing starlight. And going forward, if we are going to get things like the starlight infuser, we are going to need quite a bit of starlight. And so I think it is probably well worth investing in another quantum tank and then using that quantum tank as a way of storing some of the excess starlight that we're producing. So as per usual, we'll just do a tank and then a fluid cable. And oh, you can extract from these, I believe, but I think you have to extract from the bottom. Again, definitely not a permanent location. I'll try and set up some kind of Astral Sorcery area between streams. But again, just as a proof of concept, I think if we do this, and then move the quantum tank, of course, to here, I think that works. I think you have to extract from the bottom of the light well. Yeah, there we go. So that should now be putting starlight into the tank. It is nice. We've got 1,342 millibuckets of starlight, with more being generated. So it is night now. And once again, you can see that the amount that we need is kind of just around where this block of redstone ends. And the amount that we have is slowly but surely increasing. I think we're probably going to have to wait until the moon is basically directly over the starlight crafting altar. And not too long later, we are basically there. Look at that. And the item does appear here, by the way, when you have enough starlight. So if we do this, we should finally, chat, have ourselves a blood altar. Look at that. Nice. So going forward, we will be doing a lot more work, I think, with Astral Sorcery. There's not that many quests here in the quest line, but Astral Sorcery is a pretty big mod that adds a ton of cool stuff that we can work with. But we do also have the blood altar now, and so potentially in the next stream, we might come back and we might look at getting started with a basic blood altar setup. We don't have to go too far into blood magic in order to get the steel casing. We just have to have a tier 2 altar with 5,000 life points in it, and then we can turn blocks of steel into steel casing, and at that point we then open up the can of worms that is Mekanism itself, one of the more extensive quest lines in the pack, which I'm definitely looking forward to getting into. But again, blood magic is another mod where we don't have to do too much to get to progression, like to get to the steel casing, but there's also a ton of cool stuff that we can do within blood magic to set up some cool things and to help us on our journey forward. But for now, guys, I'm probably going to go ahead and wrap up today's stream there. Next time we'll come back, we will probably look at setting up the blood altar, at least initially, to see if we can't get a steel casing. We're going to want to set up some kind of mob spawning system, I think, if we're going to progress with blood magic, because we do need some way to generate life points that is not us, ideally, but we'll look at that in the next stream. We'll also potentially look at setting up some more apiaries, which I might also do between streams as well. We do now have a draw for nether stars, and we have our first 2 nether stars in there, so if we wanted to, we could set up 2 more apiaries now and begin filling those with all of the different bees that we have, which I will be doing slowly but surely. I'll be moving all of the bees that we have here into apiaries, both to increase their productivity and to reduce the overall footprint of bees that we currently have. I'll look at setting up a new location for our Astral Sorcery setup. Again, this is very temporary. Right now, we'll try and find a new area on the base to put all that stuff. And I think in the next stream, we'll also probably look at upgrading our centrifuge as well. Right now, we have the tier 2 centrifuge. However, as we get more and more apiaries, we're going to want to look at getting the elite centrifuge, this one right here, which requires elite casing, which doesn't look too difficult. It does require some ender pearls and some eyes of ender. And the hardest part is going to be the netherite, at least for us, because right now we don't have any netherite. However, we can go ahead and sift some crushed netherrack to get our initial netherite, and then from there we could look at setting up some kind of netherite bee. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's stream there.